Hi, everybody. It's Amy Mesney with Teaching Ideas for You. I am here tonight to talk to you quickly about how to make parents partners in the classroom and some reasons why maybe the parents aren't as active as you thought they might be or even should be. I know when I was still teaching in the classroom, we would have a lot of lunch discussions about parents who don't show up and parents who don't seem very involved and how could parents not help their students. And I will tell you that on the flip side, I think there's a lot of reasons why parents maybe don't come. So I want to talk tonight for just a minute or two about reframing your thinking regarding parents, because if you have a negative attitude about parents and how involved they are, it probably comes off when you talk to parents. I mean, I don't think any of us would ever say things to a parent, but I think sometimes like how we feel comes through even if we don't mean for it to. So I always think now, especially having experienced some life issues that have, sometimes kept me from being super involved with my child. I just assume that every parent wants their child to succeed. Maybe they have different abilities in the way they can help the child, but nobody wants their child to fail. That's my guiding, kind of North Star in how I think of it. So I try and always see the positive and just be empathetic and understanding that maybe there's issues. So let's talk about why someone may not, be as involved or come into the classroom or maybe not be doing homework with their child. The parent themselves may have had a poor school experience. They may not have done well. Maybe they had a bad experience. School is pretty intimidating for a lot of people. So, I liked school. I loved school. I don't have an issue with school. It's probably why I became a teacher. But there are people who were bullied or who, failed miserably at school. They just weren't very good at school. Or in some cultures, it's a very different experience. Like my husband is from another culture and he doesn't really understand the whole idea of parents going in and doing different things. That's not how they did things. Another thing that might be happening in the family is there may be an illness. I've been sick and I've had issues. A lot of you know that I have autoimmune problems and they actually became bad enough that I had to stop teaching. So, sometimes I'm just not up for it. And I admit even now, like, especially now that we're in high school and we fight with mom over getting help for things we don't want help for, I just don't always have the energy to fight with him. And sometimes I say, you're going to get what you earn. Like if this is the attitude you're going to have and you don't really want my help, so be it. Another thing is some parents work. I mean, we have a lot of parents who are working 2 jobs, 3 jobs, especially single parents. If you're working a job that's not paying a whole lot, you're barely making ends meet. So there has to be some empathy on our part. As a teacher, I was exhausted all the time. Maybe they do the minimum or maybe they're just doing the best they can. And finally, let's go back to culture. In some cultures, teachers are very respected and you don't talk back to the teacher. It might be that you don't make eye contact with the teacher. There's all this intimidation to get over, especially in a culture where you're supposed to treat people who are above you in certain ways. So these are things we may not know, we may not understand that's going on in the family, but I think these are all things that we just have to remember. Like this might be why they don't appear to be supporting their child like we think they should. So then let's talk about how we can include parents. I have 4 quick ways, 4 things that you can do that might help parents be more supportive or more able to help their child. 1, I think teachers need to communicate learning standards better. I think we've come a long way in that with the past 10 years where we're posting standards and talking about standards. But sometimes I think we know so much, like we don't realize that we know what we're doing and that other people don't really know what we're doing. And if you ever read comments on social media about teachers, it's pretty obvious that the general public does not know what teachers do. So I think if we want parents to help their child, we need to explain to parents listen, this is specifically what we're working on. This is the skill we're trying to get them to master. If parents know the goal, then they're going to be better able to understand what the child needs to do. I think, too, we also should discuss with parents how they should use assessments or how they should see assessments that come home. Last week, I talked with you about de-stressing testing, and I think parents sometimes use tests as clubs. I mean, I know I've gone crazy daisy on my child for a bad grade that I felt he should have or she should have done better on. But sometimes we have to step back and say maybe it's a question of it was the best they could do, or maybe they aren't understanding something, because that's really the purpose of assessment. If the purpose of assessment is for the teacher, the parent, and the child to say, okay, this is what I've mastered, this is what I have to go over, then, punishing the kid, taking his life away for the score isn't going to make that better. It's actually going to increase the stress level, which will probably make the child do worse on the next, attempt at the assessment. So I think we need to start to talk to parents about, and I think many of us do, that it's not always about the grade, it's about what they've learned. And I know I, started having that issue, I think it's been 15 years ago, with parents who only cared about the A. And it's like, this is a hard class. It's like I was teaching, like, it wasn't officially pre-AP, but it was meant to be pre-AP. And it's a hard class. I mean, if your kid got a high B, they're doing really well. It's a lot of skills that are new to kids. And you have to look at how are they growing and what they're able to do. So I think we need to start trying to get parents to see past the grade letters, if that, is possible. 3, I think we have a lot of parents who want to help and don't know how to help. We as teachers, again, sometimes kind of assume parents know how to do things or what they could do to help, but a lot of times they don't. If you look at all the controversy with the Common Core math, I think it's pretty obvious that parents want to help. They don't always know how to help, or they don't always understand the reasoning behind what the student has to do. So these are things that we as teachers could communicate better to parents. And finally, my very last tip, just ask parents. Like, if you're having trouble getting parents involved, the easiest way to get them involved is to say, hey, what can I do to help you support your child? What do you need from me? So that, I just wanted to be quick tonight. Again, this is Amy Mesny from Teaching Ideas for You. I hope you got some helpful tips from this. And I would love to connect with you in other places. And I'm found on all these different social medias and blogs. So thank you for coming. I appreciate it.